Hello everybody, it's Mr. Trucks, and I want to start off this semester first of all by saying thank you for being enrolled in tax accounting, which is BUS 246 here at Jeffco. In this video I want to go through some introduction stuff, explain to you what the course is, how we're going to work through it, some stuff like that. And probably the first question you're asking or wondering is, why are you taking this course? Why is it built into the program here at Jeffco? Why do we study tax accounting? And to kick that off, I want to make sure that you understand that while it has the word accounting in it, and you're probably thinking this is an accounting course, it's really not. It's a tax course. You'll be happy to know we're not going to be doing journal entries or working with registers or general ledgers or any of those kind of things. We're going to be talking about tax accounting and how that will play into future careers you may have in accounting or in bookkeeping. The thing to keep in mind is, as accountants, as bookkeeping professionals, we spend a lot of our time putting information into systems so that we can compile them and be able to present reports to people, either to ourselves, to owners, to other managers. And the reason that we do that, the reason that we're tracking that information is first and foremost so that we can help make the company run better. We use reports that show us where we're getting our money from or where we're spending our money to be able to make better decisions whenever we're running the business or helping others run the business. But hand in hand with that, it's also so that at the end of the year, when it's time to prepare tax returns, we have all that information in one place, organized in a systematic way so that we can use it to prepare tax returns. And that's what we're going to focus on this entire semester, is preparing the tax returns. Now, our goal in this semester is to make sure you understand, as someone who is going to be working with bookkeeping some way in the future, either as a bookkeeper, as an accountant, as a business person who's going to have their own business or work with other people's business, everything that goes into preparing a tax return and how those tax returns work. We do that so that you understand, as you're working through any normal year, what accounting information you need to get into the system for the tax return at the end of the year, and how that information is going to be used on the tax return, and how to keep your actions as you're booking all of the activity or having other people book the activity for you to make sure that you have it in there prepared the way you need it to be to prepare the tax returns. Now, when we talk about tax returns, we're going to be using what's called the IRS 1040 as a roadmap. You're seeing it on the screen right now. I would imagine most of you are familiar either with this version of it or some of the other versions. There are some shorter versions, there are some longer versions. But this is what every person, every individual uses to submit their taxes to the IRS at the end of the year. Now, along with what you're seeing on the screen, which is the basic 1040 that we're going to use to work through the semester as, like I said, a roadmap for us, there are additional forms and additional what we call schedules that can be included with this to provide additional information and break down information that's going into the tax return. When we talk about the 1040 tax return, there's four basic chunks or basic parts to it. There's areas that cover informational data, and that's like name, address, tax ID number. Are you filing together with your spouse? Who's preparing the form? All that general overall information. The second big part is the income. Where did you get your money for this year, and how much did you get? There's also an area on the form that deals with money that you may have received that isn't going to be subject to tax. And we'll dig into that a lot this semester. So once we have that income coming in and we figure out what you don't have to pay taxes for, we come up with an amount that is subject to tax. So once we figure out how much is what we call taxable, then we have to figure out how much tax is appropriate for that amount of taxable income. And do you need to pay more, or did you overpay too much? All of these things we're going to get into more in the course. Why would you be getting some back? Well, you may have prepaid some of your taxes through the year, whether that's having it deducted out of paychecks, whether if you're running a business, that's because you made some prepayments anticipating what you're going to have to pay at the end of the year. You also may get some credit back for some things at the end of the year. So how does our course work? Well, we're going to learn different information, as I said, that goes into each one of those sections. Each chapter is going to deal with a type of information that's going to apply to one of those sections. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to just move down the tax form from the top of the tax form to the bottom of the tax form, because there's pieces that sort of affect in different areas. Trust me, we're going to get you through it. And to make sure that you're comfortable with this, each time we start a new section of the course, a new chapter in the course, I'm going to make sure that you understand where that fits into the tax return. So with that in mind, let's talk about the resources that we've got. You should by now have access to federal taxation for 2022 from Pearson. There's 2 different versions of this book. Yours may not look exactly like the one that I've got on the screen because you may be working with the one for individuals. That's correct. That's the right one we should have. The one that I've got up on my screen, and you may have access to it depending on where you got your book, actually includes all of the things that are in the individual section, plus then it also has chapters on corporate taxes. We're not going to get into any of those. We're only going to be using, as I said, the chapters for the individuals. Now, let me be upfront and honest about this book. Those of you who've had me in class before know that I'm not big into what I call textbook language. And I got to be real honest, this book is really heavy in textbook language. That's why you've got me. I'm going to help you understand what's in there if you stumble or don't quite understand different parts of it. Along with the textbook, we're going to be using MyLab. I would imagine most of you have used MyLab recently. But the first time you go into MyLab with this course, you're going to need to provide an access code. I have that information for you in Canvas. You'll be able to pull it down and print it out so that you've got it ready to go. Once again, if you've used MyLab previously, you don't have to register for a new account. You just have to log into your previous account and add this course to it. Some good news. You're going to be doing homework and quizzes and projects this semester. And every time you answer a homework question, you're going to have 3 different chances to get that question correct. If you don't get it right, you can go back and try again on each individual question. Along with that, on the quizzes, I'm going to give you 2 chances on every quiz, and the highest one will be your final one. So if you get done with the quiz and you don't like your grade, you can go back and retake it. If you get a higher grade, we'll stick with that. If the first one's a higher grade, we'll stick with that. One other thing I'll mention is that all the chapters in this book, I've unlocked what we call a practice quiz. So before you get ready to take the quiz, if you want to run through the practice quiz and get a feel for it, you can do that. It won't affect your grade either way. It's just there to help you get a little bit more comfortable with what we're covering. Honestly, this is probably going to be the longest video we've got for the whole semester, I hope. So what I want to do is I want to take a break here, give you a chance to catch your breath, look what's going on. Whenever you're ready, start the second video as part of the welcome, and we'll wrap things up.